We are talking about sex, baby. Cheers. I love you. Jump cut. So sorry about that, but birth control, speaking from experience,
Can I ask you what you're on? Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Cool.
I don't know the name, but I'm on this birth control. I'm just kidding. It's called trifeminor.
Yeah.
So
you're on the pill.
Yeah,
Got
I'm
it.
on the pill. I have not done IUDs. I personally have
Not
never
at all.
really felt. No, I've
So
never
you've
really
been a pill
felt
girl.
comfortable doing IUDs. I'm not comfortable with the idea of anything, me personally, being in my body that isn't naturally already there. So I'd rather.
That is a predisposition that you as a person
That is
are
me.
like.
That is just
Totally.
me.
So that
Exactly.
makes sense for you.
Right. Plenty of my friends have the IUD, have it in their arm, whatever.
I got
it is,
the
and they
next one
have-
on. You can see her right here. I'm thumbing her.
And
wanna
have
touch
you
it?
had nothing but good experiences with this?
I have had. So this is my third round. It's now 5 years instead of 3. By the way, next
Okay.
one on, and the generic version. It's a matchstick in your arm. They put it literally. I've got minimal scarring on it. It's really fun at parties to be like, touch my arm, and then people are like, oh. I love it. It's 97.5% effective without condoms. So throwing a condom on top of it, you're hella protected for STIs.
So I've been on birth control for a little bit now, and that is because of a hormonal issue.
Can I ask you to dive further? Like,
Yeah.
how long exactly?
So
Were you a teenager?
No. The very first time I got birth control, yes, I was a teenager. I was 18 years old, and I got it for the sole purpose that my periods were brutal.
Which is equally as important.
We're talking vomiting every time, and they said that I was going to wear down my esophageal lining if
Yep.
I did not go onto
Yeah.
birth control.
Yeah.
So I went on birth control. I was on it for like 4 to 5 years.
Was
Then
it cramping? Was it nausea?
how bad it was? Fevers, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and
So you would lose how many days in a row?
3 to 4.
Cool. So you were calling in sick?
Or not going to school, or
Yep.
just not participating in athletic activities. And if I was, I would just be pale, anemic.
That is a great point of
Yeah.
just the fact of like, there are a lot of hormonal
There's
things
different reasons
that women
Yeah.
go through that like birth control is, I think they need to change
It
it.
helps.
Change the name. Contraceptives is
Yeah.
another, like they're
Yeah,
really pushing that one
anti-contraceptives.
hard
Yeah.
because a lot of women go on contraceptives to fucking just get their shit in line.
I mean, I don't have it, but I've heard of polycystic ovarian syndrome.
that is so much more common than people believe. It hasn't been heavily researched since the 90s, which means this is a lot of stuff that birth control is bringing forward. I don't want to freak anybody out. New birth control is not doing this shit, but if you got the Depo-Vera shot in the 90s, your fertility might be a little fucked right now. Because it was not researched at all, but it was heavily on the market.
Right.
I would like to throw out that in 2016, there was a male birth control. It was a shot, it was effective, but 9 men experienced mood changes and acne. So they pulled it from the market.
Wow.
But
Sorry,
there's
we have a
something to be
question.
said. There's something to be said when you generate cysts in your vagina or even in your breasts, which is very common because birth control would create. So like it's most of the time it's not fucking breast cancer. I want to make that very clear.
Right.
A lot of it
Very
is cysts
scary, yeah.
from your birth control, but because you get cysts, you need to be super on top of what your body is telling you,
Right.
because that means that your body is trying to tell you a lot more. You're more prone to a lot of stuff. Your immune system fights other things than not. So like be super
I learned that the hard
aware.
way.
Exactly. And like I think a lot of women in particular are not aware of what their body is telling them.
Yeah.
Because the hormones fluctuate. But if your hormones are not standard every month, that is speaking to your balance and your diet and all that stuff. You should know what you're getting each week.
Yeah.
You should know that when I'm ovulating, my skin is glowing.
Right.
My waist is cinched a little bit more. I'm not retaining water weight.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're about to get your period, your hormones fluctuate. It's peaks and valleys. It takes anything. You're a bomb at that point.
Yeah.
But not only being a bomb, you're uncomfortable. Your skin is trying to purge itself. Your body is trying to purge itself. You're retaining any inch of like any water weight, any ounce of water that is hanging on your thighs or hips and your abdomen, which means your jeans don't fit anymore. You've got to wear sweatpants. You're more prone, if you're a migraine person, I am genetically prone to migraines. I get about like one every other month for about 48 hours. I vomit, I can't see, I get tunnel vision.
Yeah.
It's a totally debilitating.
Yeah.
So I have to watch my menstrual flow because if I don't have my hormones in balance, my migraine now turns into a 4-day migraine.
Yeah.
Because you get the migraine for 48 hours and then you get the migraine hangover, which is a headache.
Yeah.
You know,
So what do men get?
So
Men get nothing.
And I went. I
that's
want to preface that, like,
How fair.
I'm an expert in heteronormative sex, but like, I also lean towards females don't get the education they need.
Yeah.
That's incredibly frustrating to me. I know a lot more about my body than the average female because I've done the research.
Yeah.
You know, but like,
And not everybody does, and not everybody has the access to it. So why don't we wrap up birth control with
where to get it?
Where do we get it? Where can we get it?
10
If
for
we
10.
don't have insurance, we don't have an ability, what's the baseline?
So the easiest thing is if you do have a primary care doctor, always go to your primary care doctor. They know you, they know your background, and if you're comfortable with that. If you are younger and you still use your parents' primary care doctor,
Sure.
tell them that this is a private
Consultation.
It's a private consultation. Legally, anything that you have with your doctor does not need to be reported.
100%.
It can be hidden a little bit.
100%.
So if you're nervous, if you're 18, 22, 24,
You can
and you
even-
want
yeah.
birth control,
Yeah.
tell your doctor
Yes.
that you don't want your parents knowing this and that you share it.
You can do
Easy.
that. I've done it. And usually the doctor should ask you, is this something that
They
should be
should.
between us?
They should.
And if they don't, then that's on you to say, this is a conversation
Make it
I'd
very
like
clear.
to be just between you and I.
Making babies, because we
A
can make them off of
strange,
bone marrow now.
Outdated use for semen.
Mysterious is my
So this is
Mysterious?
open-ended, not
Yeah.
multiple choice.
open-ended.
Skin products.
Mysterious?
I'm gonna guess
Probably. The thing
moisturizer.
is, you're probably right, and that's not the answer I have.
Fuck, damn.
Mysterious.
Protein
It's
drink?
basically made so you won't get it.
A cup?
I'm gonna go with some kind of like preventative disease, like
Close.
fight like
Old age?
smallpox or fight tuberculosis.
Aaron's
Like
wrong.
you'd have to swallow it to like prevent the flu.
Spit
love
it
the
out.
direction
You
you
should be
went
eating
for it.
sweets.
You're looking out for humanity, and that's super cool. So British spies used to use it as invisible ink. But then they had to keep replacing it so much because it would not
No.
it would start smelling bad if it wasn't fresh.
Yep.
And so
100%. That shit smells.
it was invisible ink was a use for semen once upon a time for British spies.
I'm gonna be a spy. I'm gonna be like, give me
You
a
don't
second.
have semen.
Yeah, but I can get it.
Hang on.
Like, I can't just walk into any place and be like,
Get it.
yeah, but I can get it.
Hang on, I need to write a message.
Come on over here.
Actually, like if you take it under a blue light, you see the jizz.
You always see the jizz.
I thought pee was
You never
like
miss the
universal
jizz.
invisible ink.
Pee?
Yeah.
No, y'all are blowing my
Also,
mind.
technically
You know what I
blue
bought? Invisible ink. So,
Those are getting better. I don't know how I feel about
we're on abortion.
We're on abortion. Well, I think one of the biggest, we can kind of go backpedal, but also it's in line with what we're about to jump
Talk
into.
to me, lean into it.
A myth, the oldest teaching method is abstinence. Abstinence. And if it's not abstinence, then it's,
Yeah, like the Greeks weren't having fucking orgies left
Right.
and right. Like people have never
obviously,
waited.
we know that doesn't work, and
Yeah.
then an uh-oh happens, and that uh-oh leads to a big decision having to be made, right?
Yeah.
Which is, do you keep or go through with it, potentially raise or give to a family member, or do you put said child up for adoption, or do you
Or-
just go through with an abortion? And I think that's another even more taboo and even controversial topic of abortion.
So I would like to preface that when it comes to abortion, I don't have religious affiliations.
Okay.
I don't.
This will make it interesting, because I do.
Yes. Yes. So
This is great.
This is yeah.
This is awesome.
So when it comes to abortion, I think it is a lot about female. It's controlling the female body.
Okay.
I think that media has twisted it into making abortion not only female owned, but a female problem.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact at the age of 30, I cannot walk into the doctor's office and get my tubes tied without my male partner's consent.
Wow.
I am 30.
You can get a credit card, but you can't get your tubes tied.
I can get 90 credit cards. I can get
How does that make
Plan
sense?
B over the counter. I can get roofied at a bar. But what I can't get is my tubes tied, even though I've known that I don't want children for 5 years now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have a question for that because you said your partner. So you're
My
not
male
married.
partner.
You're not married though, right?
I'm not. No. Because I'm a single woman under the age of 35.
Your sexual partner has to sign off. The person who's not even married to you under law. Has
So
to be
it
able to
will
sign
be.
off on
It'll,
your body.
so I
Makes
do want to
sense.
clarify. It is super dependent on your doctors because a lot of doctors skate this rule. A lot of clinics find loopholes because it is fucking blasphemy.
Yeah.
Because I don't have full control of my body, and I've been on this planet for 30 years.
Right.
I have been told I should be married by now. I should have tons of children by now, but I don't have my own rights to my body until I am older.
It's pretty
now.
wild.
And it's because I have not been married yet. Had I been a divorcee, it's a different story. Isn't that wild?
That is
when it
pretty
comes to abortion, and that's because now and this is where I get into it. I think abortion.
This is where you get into it.
Yes, this is where I
This
dive
is
in,
it.
ladies and gentlemen. Abortion is 100% preventative. And anybody who is against abortion is for comprehensive sex education. You cannot be against the other. And this is something that I'm continuing telling like my boomers, my conservative hometown. I'm from a small town in Minnesota. It took about 7 towns to make my one K through 12 high school. I
Yeah.
graduated with 60. But this is way more common than people
I was going to say, this is
see.
a reflection of what middle America is. And when I mean middle America, I mean
Trump
common America.
supportives,
Right?
Like this is why Trump had such a following.
Right.
My hometown was forgotten.
Yeah.
Because there's only 1,200 in there.
Right.
There's only 1,200 people from my town. So why would a politician take the time to go anywhere near where I grew up?
Right. So you say you have a very non-religious
And
approach.
what I mean by that is I don't believe that a baby is born at conception. I
Okay.
believe that sperm has to create an egg, and until heart and brain function are working together, I do not view that as a human being. We are dropping eggs left and right that have not been fertilized every month, and until that heart and that brain match,
Yeah.
I don't believe that is fertilization.
Sure.
But I know that this is where we get really dicey with abortion because
Yes.
it depends on where you view life at.
Right. Yeah. We're talking about different points of gestation.
Yes.
Right? And I totally get that. And I think so from my standpoint, let's just be clear. I am pro-choice, even though I do have religious connotations to what abortion entails. I, quite frankly, still sort of grapple back and forth with the idea of where life truly begins. But regardless of whether life begins there or not, I still believe that it is the woman's choice to decide whether or not that is best for herself and for that child in the
I
future.
wish it was a partner choice. I wish that like you could look at whoever you had sex with and be like, we've created life. I'd love for both of us.
Sure, but
the reality
even
is
then,
like
though,
the woman carries it. I
That's
mean,
my point.
even as a male, like
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
you can be involved as you want, but it has to come down to her.
So that was going to be my point.
Cool,
Exactly.
got it.
Which is, even though there is religious connotation for me, to the decision of making an abortion or even following through with it, I don't think at the end of the day that any of that necessarily matters, because it is up to the woman, and the woman is going to have to be the central figure who she carries it. She's the one that provides the nutrients. She's the one that provides a home, essentially, for this being to
It is a
come
home.
to into the world. So I think it should be almost entirely up to the woman to decide if that's something that she wants to do or not.
When do you believe that gestation or like life begins?
If I'm being completely honest with you, I truly think that conception starts from the moment that sperm does pierce that egg, because the chances...
So you're talking about like the first like 48 to 7 days. So basically, when you find out you're pregnant, you're like,
there's
you're
a
pregnant.
soul in
So
me.
you believe there? Okay, cool. That's all I wanted.
And
Continue.
however, I know that I cannot give this soul what it deserves and what it needs to become its like the full soul that it's supposed to be. So therefore, I am not going to do this soul a disservice and make its life suffering.
So if you were
because of
pregnant,
different...
you would carry that baby, you would bring it to full life?
No. That's my point. I'm not. Here's the way I was taught in school. I went to a Catholic private school until I was in 8th grade, and the way we were taught abortion was it's wrong, but if you do it, you do it, and you pray to that child every single day, and you ask for forgiveness.
Really?
Absolutely, because we were taught. Here's one thing that we should even dive in right now is consent. We were taught that in my Catholic school. I have to say, despite dealing with some
weird
uncomfortable
shit.
things and unfortunate things, I was taught the concept of consent from a very early age, and we were specifically told you can be raped and have a fruit come from that rape.
Yeah.
And if it is in your soul to say, this is not what I want for myself, this is not how I want this soul to be brought into this world with this stain on it for me.
Yeah, with the trauma
you don't
attached.
have to. Because what did God give us? Free will.
That's great.
He gave us the
uncommon.
choice.
Do you understand
to
how
exercise free
uncommon
will.
that is for you? Like
I agree, and I'm very fortunate to have had that education.
I mean,
I'm also very
really,
fortunate to
though.
have been given that sort of thought process, because
Yeah.
I believe that no matter what, God gave us the choice. So who are you as a senator, as a man, as somebody who bleeds red the same way I do, to tell me what I am to do with my body if God told me I can do whatever I
Well,
want?
are there a lot of women telling you to do what you want with your body, or a lot of men who have never experienced anything that you've ever?
It's 50-50, quite frankly. Because again,
Really?
we're going to tie in the cultural aspect to it.
Oh, sure.
I'm
Okay.
Hispanic.
Yeah, you're
so in Hispanic culture, there is such a negative connotation and stigma to being a woman who does something like that. You basically just took a life, right? And that's a sin that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. And so the way a lot of men phrase it, unfortunately, is, a sin for a sin. Let's put it this way. We go through trials and tribulations all the time. This is a trial and a tribulation. And I have the choice. God gave me the choice to say whether I want to approach this trial and tribulation this way or whether I want to go this way. So if God gave me that choice, why is man taking away that choice from me? That's where I draw the line. So I still have a religious connotation with it, but I am not the type of person who's going to say, I'm not going to sit here, I don't consider myself a murderer because I do that. Because this life wouldn't be created if it wasn't for me. So in a way, I do have a say in it.
So you have a religious background, but you believe that God gives you the choice to make for your body.
God gave us all
Whereas
the choice.
I come from a background of science, and not saying any are different,
Right.
but we have the same beliefs in the
We
fact
do.
of like this is a choice to be made.
And I got very lucky because I have a very uberly religious mother who almost became like a missionary. And then I have an uberly scientific father who has a PhD in psychology.
So you got
in a specific education in sexual education. So there's like
he does not for real.
He does in sex
Oh, your
therapy.
dad and I are gonna have words.
So yeah, so there's I got very lucky.
You
in
did.
having both senses of the
You
world.
were incredibly fortunate. You have experienced something that most of America will never, most of the world will
Yes.
never experience. That is so cool for you.
It is pretty cool. I'm not going to deny it. I don't want to get off topic though. Abortion.
Okay.
So abortion. I know. I just want to reel us back in super quick.
I would like to. Planned Parenthood has been attacked for abortions left and right,
Yes.
and I want to say that is 3% of what they offer people. I always tell people to go to Planned Parenthood whenever they need STI treatments, whenever they need a pap smear, whenever they need a birth control, a pregnancy counseling. I'm like, go to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
These people are mostly like, a lot of them are volunteer work, which means they want to be there to spread that information for everybody. So I always push people towards Planned Parenthood, but Planned Parenthood gets such a nasty rap for abortions, whereas like most people get abortions from their primary care doctor.
Right.
But we're not taking down clinics. I had a family member who had a lot of cysts in their breasts, and they were incredibly young and incredibly close to me. And the entire family thought it was birth control or breast cancer.
Yeah.
For a solid month. And finally I was like, go to Planned Parenthood. Let them feel your titties. I'm fucking done with this.
Yeah.
And they immediately were like, what was the birth control you were on when you first went into it? She explained it was the Depo shot. And they were like, hey, now that it's been out long enough, we have learned that the Depo can create cysts not only in your breast but also in your vagina.
Wow.
Like all that.
Okay,
Cysts
that's
are incredibly common. They're so common
They're
in
a
women.
lot more
It's
common
just
than
an
we think.
imbalance. It's so common.
Women sometimes have them and they don't even know they have them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we have so many glands in our body and our breasts that are already round and they feel that way. That's why you have to be constantly touching your body.
Yeah.
Like you have to be, because women are internal. Most of our diseases are internal. You've got to be poking in there. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, you look at your partner and you go, look inside.
Yeah.
Before my boyfriend eats me out, I'm like, make sure everything's good.
Everything good in there? Any bears?
Are we good? Is it an ingrown hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a conversation I've had several times
Yeah.
with any partner I've had is like, I'm constantly checking myself, but if you find anything weird,
Right.
I don't think that's going to be like a killer or anything. I just need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on with my body.
And you just brought up, I think, one of the most crucial points and a great way to sort of wrap this up, which is the internal aspect of women. And that even ties in tube tying, that ties in hysterectomies, and then we kind of have the opposite side of it, which is vasectomies, right? We have, obviously, I mean, it is no mystery, and or at least it shouldn't be, that tube tying and hysterectomies for women
Get a
are
vasectomy.
way
Get a
more
fucking
invasive
vasectomy. Yes.
than a vasectomy.
Always. I'm sorry.
Which are also reversible.
Any man that looks at me and he goes, I would never have a vasectomy, I'm like, cool, you will never fucking have sex with me. You are a child. You are not a grown-ass man, because that is reversible. And you know what women have to do? We have to be put asleep for hours. They cut open here, right about, you know where my belt is? They cut us open right around here.
Jeez.
And you know what they do? They fucking fold past our fucking intestines. They hang out on the side of the fucking table.
Oh my
So here is my small and my large intestine right
sweet
here.
Lord.
And you know what they're doing? They're going into my vagina and cutting my fucking tubes. And this is irreversible. But you won't. A vasectomy is right behind those balls, and we clip it, we stitch it, and you know what we can do? We can pull those stitches later. The scarring isn't that bad, and if you want to have children later. But if women get their tubes tied, that is something that we need a week recovery on. So if you don't want a vasectomy, you are a piece of shit.
Mic
Sorry.
dropped.
What we need to do is fucking put a male birth control out there.
Sure.
It's been invented, it's been created, it is better than anything that is in your body and mine.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's
have a hard
a
time
shot
swallowing that pill.
every 3 months.
Swallow.
And it has nothing, like, it makes it so you're shooting blank cum.
There you go.
Cum. As a male, would it not be wonderful to pick somebody up at a bar and not worry about pregnancy? Could you imagine getting a shot 4 times a year, and that meant that you shot blanks and your girlfriend didn't have to go through hormonal imbalances? Because the thing is like, birth control isn't natural for female
It's not.
bodies.
It's not.
That should have been a male thing to begin with, because their bodies can take it better than ours, because we fluctuate weekly. I am not the same the first, second, or third, or fourth week that month. My body
Imagine that.
changes.
Wait, let's just point out and dive deep into what you just said. You are not the same the first, second, third, or fourth. And how many weeks encompass a month?
4.
So we're never the same ever.
And this talks about your diet, your sexual habits, what you need, your meditation. My diet changes from my 1st to 3rd week because I need more iron in my 3rd and my 4th week.
When you're on your period, because you lose iron.
Because you're losing blood, depending on so that is something you need to, if your craving is happening during certain types of the week, you need to write down that craving because your craving for chocolate is actually a craving for magnesium.
There you go.
You have to think about your body is telling you what you need. So when you have any type of craving.
Yeah. Oh, I have cravings all the time, and I usually satiate them because I'm that type of person.
Because you're a star.
Absolutely, I'm a star. But I definitely it's just bizarre to me that this whole concept of women's bodies changing so much and then men just being there and being the ones that do or don't. And I don't think that all the blame, going back to what you said originally, all the blame and all the responsibility shouldn't fall on the woman. It should be a both decisions kind of thing.
And we're
it took two to make
strides.
it, didn't it?
It did.
And I think that is a perfect segue to our Q&A section.
Yes.
All right.
Heard, bitch.
Do it.
Do you know anything about the male G-spot?
Yes, I do.
That's a great question. The male G-spot. Where does it start? Where does it end?
It's not elusive. It's real. So the male G-spot is actually the prostate.
Oh,
they
there
are
you
one
go.
of the same. They're in the same area. What I need from you, if you're feeling adventurous, is if you really want to get on that G-spot, I'm going to need 2 of those fingers to go right into that butthole. And then I'm going to need you to flip it towards that pubic mound, right? Okay, so my pubic mound is where I grow pubic hair. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna fucking thumpty thump on a little gland that we find in there. Just tap on it. Listen, you know what I don't love?
Like Morse code.
But I need you to understand that Morse code, okay? If he's quiet, you're not hitting it right, okay? Same thing with women. You need to fucking listen. If they're moaning, they're not faking it. They like it. This is a powerful method. There will be come immediately, ejaculation. You gotta throw on lube. Don't be putting in dry fingers in there. That's fucking wild.
Sounds terrible.
That's crazy.
Yes. We have another question here, which you kind of touched on a little bit earlier, which was about squirting. So, the question is, how do you squirt?
First of all, in order to squirt, I feel you need to be incredibly close to your partner.
Okay.
Because that's a very intimate thing to ask of somebody. So if you want your partner to squirt and you don't know each other very well, good fucking luck. I'm sorry. I mean, good fucking luck? That's asking a lot of a person. That's asking me to shit on your chest at that point.
Ooh.
I'm serious. That's a very intimate thing.
Yeah.
Squirting is so intimate, and that's why it's sought over on porn so often.
Yeah.
Because people are not getting squirting at home. Because people don't understand squirting. They don't understand the intimacy attached to it.
Yeah.
I am incredibly communicative with my partner, and I let him know. But if I were to squirt, it would be a whole thing where we need to talk that through.
Yeah.
So something to understand is squirting is half urine and it is half cum. Always inform cum will never be liquid like that. It won't be fucking liquid like that.
So it is a little bit of pee and a little bit of
It is. It will be, and that's fine.
Fluids are
fluids. If you're fine with cum,
Take it
you're
as a
fine with
compliment,
pee.
right? Take it as a compliment if you make a girl squirt, please.
It also comes
big
from
compliment.
G stimulation arousal. If you want her to squirt, you have to create a safe environment for her. The foreplay has got to be fucking heavy in there.
Yeah.
She's got to feel safe with you.
Yeah.
But on top of it, that is G stimulation.
Yeah.
So that's that wishbone that we were talking about, right?
We talked about
we
the
have
G-spot
the clitoris,
stimulation.
and then we've got the wishbone around it. So when you're hitting that G-spot, you're hitting directly underneath the top of the wishbone. So if you're doing it right, she's going to wishbone around it. Mm-hmm. So you need to hit that in the right motion.
Yeah.
So I need reverse cowgirl, I need doggy style.
Yeah.
And if you've got a curved dick, you're already ahead of the fucking curve, literally.
Right. What is the point of anal sex, and is it bad for your insides?
Love this. Love anal.
Right?
First of all,
Amen.
when it comes to
That's good.
anal, if you've never dived into it, you've got to fucking lube up a pinky.
Amen.
Don't fucking shove a dry finger in there. And don't shove a dry dick in there. Gotta be lubed up.
Yeah.
You've got to shove a small object, like your pinky, your fingers. Like, you've got to experiment with your butthole first, because what your butthole does is it fucking freaks out. When you put something in there, it tries to get rid of it. That's why the first time you have anal, it feels like reverse pooping. It does. Shove that poop right in there. Oh, it feels so good to have the poop shoved right back in several times over and over. Yeah.
Very style.
It's real. It's real. So my recommendation is, first of all, you need to talk to your partner and make sure they're okay with butt stuff. There are tons of people that aren't. They're not comfortable with it, so don't be shoving shit in there. I need you lubed up, I need it communicating, and I need small objects first. And by objects, I don't mean pens, I mean your fingers, I mean beads, I mean small dildos that are meant to be put inside your body. Don't be shoving external shit in your body. You gotta explore your butthole, because it's meant for pleasure. It would not have the glands in there that it does if it wasn't meant for that. I got everything out I needed to say. Wear your condoms.
I feel
Talk
good. I
to
have to
your
put this
host.
really quick. So a special shout out to those who provided music for today's episode at Lovers Wanted. Please follow them on Instagram.
Hot. Get it? It's so hot.
Go ahead.
Another question.
Is spit an okay lube?
I wouldn't recommend it.
So a special shout out to those who provided music for today's episode at Lovers Wanted. Please follow them on Instagram. Thank you so much.
Sex, baby. Let's talk about